Am I really going to call this video the Fatalistic Limerence of Lucy Dacus? And my review of her new album, Forever's a Feeling? Can I possibly, no matter how many leather patches I have on my jacket, okay, that I had to sew on there because I'm such a professor, that am I going to be that much of a professor, an academic, a snooty duty to call this video the fatalistic limerence of Lucy Dacus? I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it partly because, listen, she's the one who brought up limerence, okay? Which can be defined as a psychological state characterized by intense, involuntary, and often obsessive infatuation with another person, marked by a strong desire for reciprocation and a heightened emotional dependence on their attention. Okay? That's obviously a theme of this album. It's a great love album. But what about the fatalistic part? Why am I throwing that in there? Because this is a fatalistic album. Fatalism, and all these definitions come from Wikipedia. Thank you very much for all the work that our collective civilization has done to provide that. Fatalism is a belief that events are predetermined and beyond one's control, often leading to a resignation or acceptance of whatever happens, especially negative outcomes. So, can you have an album that is simultaneously about intense, obsessive infatuation with another person and having that obsession be reciprocated as is wished, and also have it be fatalistic, acceptance of things that happen outside of your own control? Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who had to get that out of the way because I'm going to be talking about it for the whole video. But listen, I'm a big fan. Okay, I am a big fan of Lucy Dacus. I love Boy Genius, but I have always liked Lucy Dacus the most. I own Home Movies. I also own the rest of, I own. My daughter's a gigantic Boy Genius fan. She has a Boy Genius poster in her room, you know? So she has the Julian Baker album. She has the Phoebe Bridgers album. I've reviewed them all. I like them all. But Lucy Dacus, I just really enjoy her songwriting, to the point where when this album was announced, I bought it sight unseen, and I bought the deluxe edition that came with a signed poster. Now, this is giving you an idea of who Lucy Dacus is. That's her signature. Look at that badass signature. Look at what she's doing for her fans, for people who care enough to do that. I opened this up right in front of my daughter, and I think she was expecting me to say, "Here you go, it's for you." But I don't know if I could do that. I think I want to put this up in the basement. Anyways, I'm a big fan, and my family's a big fan. I did something with Anthony Fantano. I've worked with him a few times now on Culture United, and she's like, "Dad, you're going to be with Anthony Fantano?" I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't know you were a big fan." "Dad, Lucy Dacus knows who Anthony Fantano is." I'm like, "Yeah. I mean, there's a chance she knows who I am. So if anyone in Lucy Dacus' camp is watching this, please tell me, does she know who I am? Doesn't matter. She will now. She will now, after I release a video that's sure to get tens of clicks called the Fatalistic Limerence of Lucy Dacus. But listen, I did struggle with this album as a big fan of Home Movies. Home Movies has a certain accessibility, has a certain kind of rockingness, has a certain, I don't know, it reminded me very strongly in a very positive way of that album Phoenix by Pedro the Lion, which is one of my favorite albums I reviewed here. This kind of nostalgic, darkly nostalgic meditation on how your childhood creates who you are. Home Movies is just a masterpiece. And this album, it's great, but it doesn't scratch that same itch. Now, her voice is just as haunting as ever, but I saw something interesting. So if you've never watched Jake Shane, he does a video series on YouTube. I somehow have more subscribers than him, but that maybe he's big on TikTok, or maybe I don't know what, he's a superstar. I don't know how I have more subscribers than he does. I don't know, maybe he's famous on some other thing, but he's a great interviewer. And in that interview, she said straight up, lyrics are everything. Words are everything. Melody is second, songwriting is second. And that's clear with her music. And good, because she is that good of a songwriter. That good of a lyricist. Because, listen, the songs here are maybe less dynamic, maybe a little bit less approachable than Home Movies, but I would say artistically, this is unique. Like the Home Movies is a great example of a kind of album that can be made. I think Taylor Swift is working in that same kind of area. The sort of the millennial looking back on their youth, trying to figure out how to connect the way their youth puts it here. This album is a fascinating take on the nature of love, a specific kind of love, a specific time of love. This, while musically, it is not my absolute favorite Lucy Dacus album, my favorite album I've heard of the year. Poetically, it's perfect. It is a perfect illustration of I'm going to say it again. I'm going to take a sip of water after I say it, just so you can hang out for a bit. Fatalistic Limerence. It's fascinating. And it's cool because, this time last week I was reviewing the Perfume Genius album, which is also produced by Blake Mills, we'll be discussing soon. And that was also a great take on love, but that's like love 10 years later. Listen, kids, if you really want to spend some time thinking about the nature of love, you can watch a bunch of movies and TV, I guess. Or you can have these two different stages, Perfume Genius. No one watched my video on that. I don't know why. It was a good video. It's a great album. I don't know. What's up? What's up, everybody? But the theme that's like after marriage and being with someone for a long time and the struggle. This, in some ways, fits into that theme. This is largely a theme about monogamy troubles. It's about falling in love with someone who you think you will marry, but also not really believing in marriage. It's in breakups. It's about good and not good love. And it's about being horrified by joy, horrified by safety, horrified by togetherness, because you know it's going to end. You know that we are going to break each other's hearts. My daughter mentions, apparently, Julian Baker was dating someone else when they started dating. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's part of it. Maybe there's some kind of guilt in here. I don't know. I don't care about others' biography, but that's just something she said. And now that's stuck in my head. So if you want to write a dissertation in the comments about how that is or is not relevant to this album, you please go ahead. What I like too is that this is a story about friends who turned into lovers. And that's an interesting theme. I've had a lot of platonic friends in my life. Like men and women, I'm not attracted to men, but I have been friends with men who are attracted to men, you know what I'm saying? It's a fascinating thing. The idea of being friends with somebody who is the sex that you are attracted to for a long period of time and having that eventually turn into lovers. It's covered sometimes in cinema. I can't think of a single time in music. I did record a song called Friends and Lovers when I was 22. It wasn't a good song. I was trying to imitate dub reggae. Some of my back catalog will never see the light of day. But it happens a lot in TV, which makes sense with the longer time. We're not just Jim and Pam. Think about the number. I'm just going to read off some characters. And if you know all these characters, you've watched too much TV. Characters who start off as friends, close friends, best friends, and then become lovers. Monica and Chandler, Jess and Nick, Jake and Amy, Bert and Ernie, Chidi and Eleanor, Joey and Pacey, Cordelia and Angel, Lucy Dacus and Julian Baker. Okay? All of these things all come together into this theme. That's a fascinating theme that's tied into this whole question of foreverness. Forever is a feeling. That's the name of the album. You see the thing back there. The title itself builds into this theme of fatalistic limerence, because forever is eternal and feelings pass. Feelings are something that pass. Feelings are not forever. If forever is a feeling, maybe, but forever can't be a feeling, right? It doesn't quite work. It's this weird sort of like this cynicism about this relationship working out. It's 50%, this is the greatest I've ever felt. 50%, I'm not going to feel this way forever. All right? The album cover even has that same kind of theme where it's painted. It's looks like a beautiful Renaissance painting, but then it's all, you got millennial tattoos. It's eternal and present. Now, this is the third album by Blake Mills that I've reviewed in the last month. Japanese Breakfast, Perfume Genius, and this. He's on a streak. I don't know what he's doing here much, except for maybe softening out the edges. I don't know. Going back to the Jake Shane interview, I really thought it was great. She says it's great to romanticize your own life, which makes sense with how she writes. She apparently believes in astrology, which, I don't believe in astrology, but the older I get, the more I learn to respect people who do. And then she's sort of saying they gave relationship advice at the end, and she gave some kind of what might seem like contradictory or unexpected responses, saying that anybody who says that they're in a situationship is probably in the wrong, that they want something that the other person doesn't. It's interesting because it's if you watch that interview, again, Jake Shane, it's called Puss Interviews, Octopus Interviews. I don't even know what it's called, but it's really great. I'll include a link in the description. It's fascinating. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe, AVAA. Why don't you take your best guess? What do you think is my favorite song on this album? Okay? I'll tell you. But just take your best guess now. It opens up with Calliope Prelude, prelude. So Calliope is a muse of epic poetry, and there's this whole thing where obviously, and she said this publicly, this album is about her love with Julian Baker. So it's great having a woman write a song about a muse, because usually women are muses. I mean, like Julian Baker is a muse and an artist. An artist search for muses, like mystical sources of inspiration. So it's a fascinating idea, like having a muse be a female musician, right? Like, it's great. It's great. And this song is just a super high violin, leads right into the soft rock track, big deal, acoustic guitar and the snare over the brush. Everything comes to the surface in the end, even the things we like to leave unspoken, the way she extends that out, this beautiful voice, you are a big deal to me. I don't know if this is inspired by Ron Burgundy. And she's like, I think she's imagining if this relationship that she's experiencing doesn't work out, she's imagining watching this person getting married and being happy about it. So much of this album is about resignation, the fatalistic resignation, that bad things are going to happen, but I'm going to be okay with it, okay? It is tolerance. It is inuring fatalistic viewpoint. Then we get to the song Ankles, which is a single, makes sense. This is maybe the most home movies-y style song here. This great staccato sounds underneath, a great beat. What if we don't touch, if we only talked about what we want? This album is all about that transition from friend to lover. It's great. This album would have really helped me out, by the way, because, I had a lot of those friendships that really could have used an album like this, I could have brought that up, Maybe I would have spent less time, pining, I'm sorry, Becca. I should have said something. Freshman year, I thought I was unlovable. You probably felt unlovable too, So we were just friends. We did the big brother and big sister thing together, And it was great. We'd always hug goodbye, and there was something there, but we were both afraid. We both thought we were not worthy of each other, If we were both Lucy Dacus fans, we could have talked about this, but we didn't have the vocabulary. If you're out there, I hope you're married and happy. Anyways, just thinking about that. Freshman year. It's funny because I'm a professor, And all these kids I'm teaching are having all the same experiences I was having. Cool kind of 80s synthesizer comes in. And it's hot stuff, of course. This is a very lustful album. This is about early stages of puppy love and very lustful loves, pulling by the ankles to the edge of your bed. Take me like you do in your dreams. I'm not going to stop you this time. It's all about that moment of passing from friend to lover and giving in to this love. But then it's not just the lust. It's also help me with a crossword in the morning. Ask me how did I sleep. When you're married, when you're with someone for a long time, that's basically what you talk about most of the time. How did you sleep? I didn't sleep well last night. I've been having these neurological issues. I had a neurological issue. I had to figure out if I had to go back to the hospital. I didn't. Had a lot of interesting, difficult conversations. We were both up till 2, Married life is kind of waiting to tell the person you're with. A bad marriage is where you're fighting to be the first person to say, I slept badly. A good marriage is asking and letting the other person be the first person to say how poorly you slept. The second verse is more drum-centered, kind of like we could go your own way, that Fleetwood Mac song, but beautiful, talking about these ancient faiths going all the way back, all these old mystical images, and then also, making references to scissors, which is obviously a sex act, enjoyed by two women who very much enjoy each other's bodies kind of thing, right? Why did I say that so creepy? I was trying to figure out a way to say that was not creepy. I landed on that. I don't edit my videos, so that's just going to be on the file. Ugh. Tell me in the comments. Ugh. Can I get an ugh in the comments? Can I get an edit Sky in the comments? Am I blushing? I'm blushing. It happens. Limerence, that's the psychological state of involuntary obsession. So that's what this album is a lot about. It's a great, slice of life thing, talking about watching someone smoking a blunt and playing GTA. It's very sort of its generation time. I'm thinking of breaking your heart soon, and if I do, I'll be breaking mine too. What a beautiful line. Is this the song? Is she actually thinking, is this whole album a love album about Julian Baker that is also about breaking up with Julian Baker? About finding the person who you think you could live forever with and breaking up with her. That's the fatalism of this album. My arm round the waist of a friendly acquaintance, towing the line of betraying your trust. Why do I feel alive when I'm behaving my worst? I want to have what we have, a beautiful life, but stillness might eat me alive. It can't work. It makes sense, Monogamy, your generation, you young people, we're increasingly disillusioned with monogamy. I personally think monogamy is like democracy. It's the best system. It's the worst system except for all the others. I think monogamy is great, actually. There's a lot of problems with it. And having it be the default is not great. It's a thing that people should choose enthusiastically. But it's a tough time. Trying to figure these things all out, And she's describing like she wants to be happy, but she knows she might not be able to. Then we get to a beautiful friendship ode, Modigliani. This is apparently about her friendship with Phoebe Bridgers. She's like just this little story of like sitting on a bench and having the memorial name on her back and just wanting to tell her friend these little slices. Because that's the thing. This is maybe just as good as home movies. I might revisit it. Because like home movies is great about her past and the history and all that. But this is like about the now where she is. This is about like the now. This is like a full-on tranche, full-on slice of her life. This is a piece of cake with the flowers on the edges, okay, and the slightly disappointing raspberry filling. You didn't know it was going to have raspberry filling. Who puts raspberry in cake? What savage imbeciles you put raspberry filling in cake? But that's life, the cake's still good. You're still going to eat it. But you're unhappy about that raspberry thing. That's the slice of life that she's providing for you here. And she's just talking about her friend who's in Singapore and she's there and she wants to share it. I love songs about friendship. I especially love songs about female friendship because female friendship is often discouraged because it's a great technique of any oppressive system that people who are oppressed turn against each other. So any song about friendship, it's just beautiful. And apparently she's writing about Modigliani and why'd you pull the long face. And it's an art history joke. I love art history. Modigliani was famous for painting people with long faces. True story. Every single time I say Modigliani, I think of the song by Backstreet, No Diggity, No Doubt. Mo Diggity, Mo Doubt. That's what I call him. When I took art history in college, that was my notes. I said Mo Diggity, No Doubt. Then we get to the song Talk again. This fatalism, kind of a scary higher voice here about driving on these dangerous roads in the mountains, kind of ominous, beautiful lyrics. Just silent, watching high beams interrupt the night. Lucy Dacus. All right, who's writing better lyrics? Okay, Perfume Genius is writing similar lyrics, but not better. This is just as good. And these super hard drums. Why don't we talk anymore? It's like she's picturing the future that she has with this person that she has limerence of, and she's already imagining that they're not going to talk anymore. Kind of like Neil Young style guitar, nice harder drums in the second half. Maybe that's what Blake Mills is doing. I don't know. Then we get to For Keeps. Folky, just guitar and voice again. Everything is subservient to the words here. Okay, we were not something, we were not nothing, we were in between things that make sense. Again, is she talking about the love relationship that she's actually in? I don't know. But she says, I know we're not playing for keeps. Okay, is this like a hopeful album that makes you think love is great and love is wonderful? Yay! Or is it like love can't work? It's fatalistic limerence. I said it again. At least I didn't say that thing about scissoring again. I don't remember what I said, but I Hey, Lucy Dacus, you can use these lyrics. I forget what I said, what I remember. No, I forget what I said, but I won't forget the regret of how I said it. It's okay, Lucy. You improve it. Just make sure that my daughter knows that you know who I am. Next track is Forever's a Feeling. It's cool because on the Jake Shane thing, like she said, this song was just bits and bobs put together, and that makes sense. That's how it feels. Kind of a soft rock feeling here. I love the way the drums come in behind the beat. I don't remember names, so I remember every time we went together. This is like sweet limerence. Like she doesn't remember things, but she remembers every single time she saw this woman and how pretty she was and all this. Like I love this because this reminds me of how I felt about when I met my wife in 2018. You know, like this limerence right here. Oh, I had that limerence. I had limerence super hard. You know, I still love her. We're going to be together forever, and everything's awesome. And everything's just as good now as it was then, but it was a different state. You might call it puppy love. It was like puppy love, right? Come out, sweet kind of waltz here, slice of life. I missed your call because I was in a boardroom full of old men guessing what the kids were getting into. There's a guy in a cutout of a cowboy in the corner pointing his gun on my face. I'm going to guess that this is at Warner Brothers because I'm going to guess it was John Wayne. who is a cowboy who often is shooting the camera, and he was mostly on Warner Brothers. Anyways, beautiful, kind of funky singing over the high sing, some harp and shaker. Come out wherever you are. Again, she's a lesbian icon, so having a song called Come Out makes you think it's going to be about coming out. I think it is, and it's not. This whole beautiful lyric about how cities are all the same. You know, a pharmacy, a coffee shop, a tourist attraction that most people hate. Because the sky around 5 might remind me of you. There's a couple of divorcees on a bad first date and an elderly couple with nothing to say. I used to think that'd be the worst, to grow old and run out of words. Now I've seen some incredible things I could never describe if I tried. So she's going back to the same theme for the song Talk, and now she's a little bit less fatalistic. She's maybe saying, hey, maybe we'll be together and have nothing to say, but that's just the way it is. I'm not that at that point with my wife. Maybe I will be in 20 years. Unlikely. I like to talk, and so does she. But so it's okay not to talk, and it's not okay. Just beautiful. Then we get to my favorite song on the album. Did you guess? It's Best Guess, because it's the most kind of home movies-y sounding, okay? Steady rocking chorus, this really sad idea. Really sad idea, you know? You're my best guess at the future. Like, that's the fatalism, you know? It's like this like heart-wrenching love song, but it's also like, I don't know, you're my best guess. Also, not for nothing, if it's true that they started this relationship with infidelity, the issue with starting a relationship with infidelity is relationships that start with infidelity usually end with infidelity. It's like a thing, like people tell you who they are when they meet you. So anyways, but what do I know? Huh? Who am I? Who am I? Besides a dude who has legitimate elbow patches on his blazer. I was listening to the song with my 2-year-old. We were, my wife was making a niçoise salad, and I was helping her. I boiled the baby potatoes. I cut the tomatoes. I prepared and boiled the green beans. So I did a bunch of it, right? And I was washing the potatoes with my 2-year-old, and she listens to this song, and she goes, "Papi, can you dance?" And then we took a break from washing potatoes to dance together. Then we get to Bullseye from Hozier. Hozier, who I like Hozier. I like Hozier a lot. Hozier fans don't like me because I did not take Irish history seriously enough when I discussed him. I feel like an asshole for that, so I'm sorry about that. At some point, I probably need to do a video about my attitude towards Ireland, I think. Which is weird. You wouldn't think, but I think I probably do. But that video is not right now. And he's great. His voice works perfectly. Fatalism isn't always bad. Because she even says it in the Jake Shane interview. She's like, everything ends. Every relationship ends, either by death or by choice. That's what she says. She's smart, man. Damn. And that's true. So, like, if you just accept that, then, you know, by death or by choice. So everything does come to an end. So this is a breakup song that's not toxic. It's just like, hey, it was good and it's over. Can we have more songs like this? Listen, I only had 5 serious relationships in my life, and 2 of them ended like this. Just like, you know what? This is good. That was good. Fine. You know? I mean, obviously rougher at the exact moment of breaking up. You know? What? Did I go crazy and start smoking and eating fried chicken alone, screaming in my bed, in my dorm room? Yeah, okay, who doesn't? But still, in general, that was like a fine relationship, you know? And there's no songs about that. The relationship, I was like, you broke my heart. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? It's great. And then she mentions, in many European cities, there's a bridge where lovers put locks on the rails and throw their keys into the river beneath. We were 2 such suckers. Service announcement. Stop it, you colonial assholes. Do not put locks on other people's bridges. I don't care if they're selling locks next to it. It's not cool. This is new. This is not an old thing. This has been happening the last 10, 15 years. And when you go to another country and you literally vandalize their property with your little love story, get bumped. Get all the way bumped. I don't care how special it is for you. This is where people live. This is their life. Their life is not part of your story. You main character mother. All right? Stop putting locks with your heart, okay? Okay? Don't go to the redwoods and carve your name into the bark, okay? Don't do it. I don't care if you're in love. And Lucy Dacus points that out. But metal weighs down the bearings and the city has cut the bolts. If our spell wore off, maybe it's all their fault. Yes. Don't do that. And that's just for my European friends out there. Americans, we don't have any bridges like that. We're not a really pedestrian country. We don't have any bridges where people do that. But you go anywhere in Europe, and some assholes put their stupid thing on there. Anyways. Holding each other so tight we got stuck. It was young love, it was dumb luck. Just beautiful, their pairing, wonderful. I meant every word I said when I said it. That's what love is. That's the reality of love. Okay? I love my wife, and I have loved other people. How is it possible that my wife is the love of my life and I've never loved anyone more than her, but I've also felt that way before about other people? Because that's just how life is. I meant every word when I said it. Most Wanted Man, cool curling guitar riff, building layers, very straightforward song. Okay. Is this Jake or Blake? Okay. In the credits, it says Blake Mills and Jake Finch are playing bass. My favorite musical part of this entire album is this ridiculous, like, descending over 10 bars bass line. I don't know how to find out the answer, but this is great. Anxiety. These lyrics produce so much anxiety in me. I've been circumventing your pet peeves, bending backwards every time that you say please. I just want to make you happy. Will you let me spend a lifetime trying? This sounds like kind of wounded people trying to people please, hoping that'll make them safe and help them feel loved. I don't know. And then the person who she's singing about, Julian Baker, does a duet. This is like Paul and Linda McCartney singing a song together. Okay? But it's strange. The framing is strange. To catch the most wanted man in Tennessee, it's like to catch, I don't know. It's kind of strange. It makes sense. Like this whole album is her talking about the love that she feels and coming to terms with the fact that she's going to break up. Ends with the song Lost Time. This might be the theme to all those lovers, friends turn lovers I talked about how it's so much wasted time. I don't think it's true, by the way. I mean, this is a good song. I don't think it's true. Like, I'm trying to think of all the women who I've been friends with. I was never secretly in love with any of them, except for Becca. There was a lot of wasted time there. Anyways, I love you, and every day that I knew I didn't say is lost time. A beautiful concept. Nothing lasts forever, but let's see how far we get. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Fatalistic, Limerence. I love the development, how the song gets louder and quieter. It's just beautiful. And even references the 60-day chip because she's in love with an addict. I really much enjoy that. And it ends with like just this rough recording that she must have made sort of on tour when she recorded this song. I want to thank my Patreons. Some of them wanted to shout out. Julian Francisco Placencia, Afandor, Mig Online, Zach, and Mark Wakely. Just for this week, in honor of Mark Wakely, I hope that Tottenham wins their soccer game. Who's Tottenham playing? Tottenham Spurs. Who are they playing this week? Oh, well, they tied Eintracht Frankfurt, so I guess I want them to beat Eintracht Frankfurt. Okay, so that's it. I want Spurs to beat Frankfurt. And Andrew M. Bruce Lee, who's not a Patreon, but he's a friend of the channel. He's been wanting me to do this video for a while. Okay, so until next time, I got to get back home. I've been getting texts from my wife, so I got to get home. Thank you very much. May you all experience Limerence. Oh, God damn it, just end the videos, guy. Here's the camera.